Sarah, great to see you. Welcome to Popternative.
Thank you so much. Good to see you too.
I can't wait for people to see 6 AAA. You're amazing in this. Congratulations.
So much.
I want to know about the kind of like preparation process for something like this because this is such an important film. It's such a big film. What is kind of those first preliminary kind of thoughts about the preparation for something like this?
Gosh, it really is unique because it's based on reality, based on fiction, actual history, um, and real women. Lots of real, just multifaceted women. Um, and so, in my mind, the forefront of it was, okay, let me immerse myself in those times. So do the research of World War II in general and that era,
Yeah.
and then dive into what music Black folk were listening to back then, and really embody that and make a playlist of my own. So that was part of the process. What would my character wear? What would be her sort of signature piece? Because then you get into the uniforms and you lose kind of a little bit of that individuality. So I really wanted to make sure that when we had um, our sort of street clothes, that I got to bring some of the character into that.
Yep.
And then, yeah, just really like kind of meditating with the fact that these are real women we're honoring, and just like really be a vessel for them, and that this is their moment.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, that's it's a good segue to my next question because like so much happens before you go to camera on a project like this, right? So from an acting storyteller perspective, you can see there's two journeys, right? Before filming and after filming, or did it
Totally.
feel like one big journey with multiple steps? I'm curious about that.
Oh, great question. You know, the prep and the shooting kind of feels like one, like
Yeah.
a they were, close together, and you're beginning to get to know your cast and your director and the crew and all of the people who will be involved in it. And then you're shooting and you're in it, and it's like, you kind of have this like tunnel vision. And then you stop, and then it goes out into the ether, and the editors do their editing and the directors make their cuts, and then eventually it comes back, and now we're here, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is 2 years ago that we shot the film. So
Yeah, it's like
um,
the journey's done until you like have to talk
until
about
it's
the
not,
release of
yeah,
it. Yeah.
until like we're driving down Sunset and there's a billboard, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And it's interesting too because it's all storytelling at the end of the day, and like you look at your really amazing body of work, Sarah. Like seriously, it's really
Thank
awesome, and
you.
it's like different worlds, but you play different characters. And I'm just curious, like how separate are past journeys compared to something like this? Like, do you bring mindset preparations to past projects like Descendants to something like this, or are they completely separate once you wrap them?
I think for my personal process, preparation always looks so different depending on the project and on the film or the series. For this one, it was very, information based, and just trying to like soak in as much as I could. Really spending time with the character, even making like some, like I said, playlists.
Yep.
Um, and then for a role like my last film, it very much felt like me, and the thing that I could do the most to be my best performer was really just relax into it. And so for that, there was not a ton of preparation. It was just a lot of communication with the director, and like him trusting me and me trusting him.
Yeah.
And then of course you have something like Descendants, where that's a much more specific thing. And my process for that was just like having all of the support that I needed, the vocal coach, the dance, the choreographer, Kenny, and having one-on-one conversations with him. Um, yeah, head to toe, kind of just having that support. But it's really cool just watching how the process shifts from project to project.
It's interesting to think about the fact that like this film that's going to come out worldwide on Netflix is such an important film, and we really need a film like this at this point. And it's like you think of the amount of people that are going to be able to have access of this film and have access
Yeah.
to see it worldwide. Is that something you think about from an acting storyteller perspective, like the kind of a way we consume content and how we consume content, because content is becoming so global? I think you saw that with the Descendants films as well, right? Like it's so
Sure.
global right now.
Yes. Yeah. I think now more than ever, it's like it's just all changed. And I've really realized that you never really know what's going to hit. But what's incredible about this, and that we've known from the beginning with this film, is that, Netflix is Netflix. And I'm so happy
That's a
that,
really good, that's the perfect way to put it.
right?
Netflix.
Netflix is Netflix, and they're so awesome at what they do, and so many people will get access to this.
Yeah.
And that's so exciting to me. We have a limited theatrical release as well, which is so cool, and I'm so excited for whoever can to go see it on the big silver screen. But yeah, I'm really glad that the accessibility for this one is what it is, because
Yeah.
it's so poignant and topical and important.
And I kind of want to know because this was such a like, this was 2 years ago. This was such a big film. It was a long process. I want to know what that like first day versus last day on set was like. Did it feel kind of like, because I feel like in a lot of different ways, they're going to both be overwhelming, right? Because like in one day, it's your
100%.
first day, it's like, oh my God, I'm doing this. And then like this
Yeah.
last day is like, oh my God, we're done doing this, right? So it's like, what was that
Yeah.
like the first day versus the last day for you?
Yeah. Yeah, they are so intense in different ways. And what's really cool about Tyler is he really knows what he wants and he gets it. So on my first day, you go through the works, you go through hair, makeup, and wardrobe. I'm like feeling like Dolores. I am Dolores. And then we get on set, and usually it's like, you're waiting around, sit and wait, sit and wait. With this, I jumped right into it. We jumped right into it, and we got going. And so that was cool to just like kind of like from the get-go, we were off.
Yep.
And it continued with that kind of momentum for the duration of the shoot. And then when we got to the end, it was kind of like, oh wow, we've captured everything we need.
Mhm.
And it's just a celebration now. And
Yeah.
it was really special. We wrapped in it's not really a ballroom, but it's, the dance hall,
Yep.
which I thought was just such a fun place to wrap, because we were all kind of like letting loose,
Mhm.
um, and got to bring a little bit of our individual personalities to that scene. So yeah, it's very special.
You've worked on like, indie films, short films, and you've worked on something like this. And again, I go
Mhm.
to that big kind of theme of it's all storytelling at the end of the day. When you work on something like this and you see kind of Tyler and everything and the scale and everything, does it kind of like, and there's so many moving parts, does it
Mhm.
kind of make you more interested in like going behind the camera and like write and direct and produce, or is like obviously like acting something that you're like focusing on the most? Like, I'm just curious about that. Like when you see it all right happen, all the different kind
Yeah,
of HODs and everything, do you get like, wow, like
totally.
I want to be this like behind this as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, what's really cool is the scope of the different projects I've been a part of have just varied so much. And I've been part of projects that just have, micro budget, and is just really just like, a minimal kind of skeleton crew. And then you go to something like this where we're on Tyler's studio, and it's just so expansive, and and that's really incredible too. Um, but yeah, to answer your question, I'm so curious and interested in directing, perhaps producing. Um, I really just love learning more about the different departments. And when I was on Charmed, that was a 4 season run where I got to be a lead, and I was on set every day. And so I got to ask so many questions to the camera operators and learn about the lenses, and just more about how that works. And that was really cool to me too, and a really great learning opportunity to just, I'm there, so I might as well learn.
You did Charm, then you did Descendants. Is that the timeline, or
Um,
was it
so I
before
did I did
Descend?
the first Descendants, and then I had some time, and then I booked Charmed and did the third Descendants right after the pilot, or yeah, right after the
So
pilot of Charmed.
Descendants was before Charm, technically. Like,
Yes.
okay, did working on Descendants prepare you? Because it could have been either way. It could have been like, did Charm prepare you for Descendants, or Descendants prepare, because they're both big kind of fan bases, right? Like,
Hmm.
did they like help each other out preparation, like how global and like popular something would be? Like, because that's like not that's like pretty crazy, right? Like you're just kind of like
Yeah,
on set and then boom, like all these people from all around the world are like following you on social media. Like, did that help a
for
little bit?
sure. I would say that the pop that came from Descendants was more overwhelming or like, you know, grander than anything else I've experienced, especially from the third film. But yeah, just working on a big set. I'm trying to think of, you know, I did a show called Wayward Pines for Fox, and that
So
had,
good. Yes.
thank
That's
you.
right. You were in that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
which that was kind of like I got, you know, I worked with a lot of heavy hitters, and so that was sort of my first experience of like being like, oh wow, you know, like this is what a set looks like when there are movie stars everywhere, and like um that was really kind of opened my eyes to how sets work. And you know, my very first project, I worked with Tandy Way Newton, and that was really incredible as well. Like, what a way to start in the industry. Played her daughter, and so yeah, I feel like everything has kind of led up to this. The trajectory has been really cool.
Totally. Two quick questions for a wrap up. They kind of go hand in hand. I mean, you know, December 20th, you know, 688's gonna drop worldwide on Netflix. Like people are gonna be able to check that. I'm curious if you like think of the audience member ever while you're making something, because I feel like you try not to as an actor, but like,
Mhm.
you know, are you ever conscious of the audience member watching something on Netflix like while you're making it, or does that kind of happen after you wrap? I always think about that specifically.
Oh, that's so interesting. You know, for this one, I don't think I thought about it at all.
Yeah. I guess it
Um,
depends on the project. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. I think for this, I was really just like, this is a mission. Like I really felt like it was a mission, and we were all in it together, and that we wanted to give the women of the 6888 their flowers. So if anything, I
Yes.
was bringing in, you know, their perspective and what they would have thought. And then for other projects, it's different. Totally.
Mhm.
Like sometimes you do think about those things, but for this one, we were so honed in on honoring these women.
I feel like for Descendants, there's moments where it's like, what are people going to think of the song? What are people going to think about the
Oh, totally.
costumes?
So many questions, so many, yeah. And like I said before, you never know what's gonna hit. You can just kind of hope, and then, you know, with Queen of Mean, obviously that took off.
Oh my god,
And
that song's a
yeah.
banger too. There's so many Descendants bops. It's
Thank
crazy.
you. I agree. I love our music.
I worked on a short film with one of your co-stars on that, so I've just like Descendants always
Oh
comes up
wow.
all the time.
Oh,
So
who
it's
was
like
it?
it was Brenna D'Amico.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so no, it's just like because it's
Dear
always like
girl.
Descendants mode all the time. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
So it's
love
like
that.
it's
That's so
awesome.
amazing.
But Sarah, so great chatting with you. Thank you so much for your
You
time.
too. Thank you so much, PD. Such a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Your Instagram account is just your name, right? If people want to keep update with everything.
Yeah, so it's Sarah M like mother and then Jeffery, Jeffery. Very
And
easy to misspell. So
absolutely. And 6888 on Netflix, December 20th.
December
They
20th.
check that out.
Yeah.
Well, this has been Pop Turner. YouTube.com/Pop Turner for previous episodes. Till next time, it says Sarah and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.